85 here today with a face-off of two of the available solar panels that you can use for your deer feeder. There's a few other, but these are the most prevalent that I've found in the stores that I've gone into. We have the Rayovac over here, and we have Wildgame Innovations. Rayovac boasts a bit of a claim of being a tad stronger, and the surface area, as you can see, is a little bit bigger than the Wildgame. But that certainly doesn't make for a good test just because it's a little bit bigger. So we're going to put these through a versus today. Have two Rayovac batteries with a number 1 on here we're going to use for the Rayovac. Battery number 2 over there we're going to use for the Wildgame Innovations. Rayovac, as you can see, has these silver stripes through them, so we can tell that that's the Rayovac all the time. I've wore these batteries down to not being able to really that much juice left in them. Picked up this floatable lantern at Walmart to use to run these things down. This is the LED style, and this was $4.97, about $5. And I'm certainly going to keep this in the garage. If you have a boat, and since it is floatable, you want to keep it on your boat. Pretty good. Consistently over 30 hours straight run time with this. So if you're going on and off, this is going to last a long, long time. Pretty impressive for just a cheap Rayovac lantern, but those LEDs certainly make a big difference. Both of these have the steel flexible conduit, about 18 inches worth on them. This is so raccoons and squirrels can't shoot through this and shoot through your wires. Both have connectors on the back that I'm going to show you how that works as far as putting them into your spinner boxes if you haven't seen that before. Rayovac has about a 10-foot cord on here. I don't really think you need a lot of extra because as soon as you go into your spinner box, you're basically done. So I don't think you need a lot of extra cord, but you have it in case you need to be flexible. The Rayovac is a little bit, as far as the gauge on that, the wire, it's a little bit bigger, and the alligator clips are a little bit bigger. Rayovac over here, again, same 18-inch flexible steel conduit. The alligator clip's a little bit smaller, as in the gauge of the wire's a little bit smaller, but certainly will do the job, I'm sure. So let's take some initial readings off of these things, what we're getting off the sun. And let's get these hooked up. And again, the Rayovac, as you can see, the alligator clamps wire are a little bit bigger. And out of the sun right now, reading about 10.60 as far as our volts go. So 10.61 out of the coming in direct sun. And the amps are reading 0.11 amps coming out of the Rayovac. Here we are with the Wildgame clamps, just a little bit smaller. As you can see, the wire's just a little bit smaller. Let's get those hooked up. And stabilizing at about 10.86 volts wise. So just a little bit more coming out of the Wildgame. So let's go ahead and switch over to amps, connecting the Wildgame. And we're about 5. So as far as amps go, a little bit different. Remember, amps and volts. Volts is pressure in there, but amps is the flow of electricity through. So you can see a little bit more flow with the Rayovac, and we'll see if that's going to make a difference. Here's a Wildgame digital timer for a feeder. We're just going to see how much juice it's saying that's in the battery, if it's even reading anything whatsoever. I don't think it's going to. So let's just take a quick connect on the batteries here. And nothing on the LEDs at all. And let's check out battery number 2 over here. And again, that's going to be for the Wildgame charger. And just barely able to read it. So a little bit teeny more charge but close enough to give us a good start. And we'll see if the Rayovac, since it says it's supposed to be 1.5 times faster, if it's going to actually catch up. Here we are about 30 minutes later, taking a look at the amps right now. Hovering right around 2-ish, 2.10. Switch over to volts real quick. And here we are at about 4 volt. And here we are almost 6, which is again pretty impressive. 6 volts. And this is a 6 volt battery. And that was out of our Wildgame. Switching over to amps. About 120 or so. So let's put these on. It's 10:30 now. I think I'll come back in about an hour-ish. Here we are, 11:26. Let's just go ahead and check the amps. This is the Rayovac. And about a 4.6 also. So both doing really well after just that short period of time. Don't see one real clear winner at this point. Get in that 610 range. It's really probably not going to go past that because again, 6 volt battery. And about 597 for the Rayovac. So Rayovac didn't quite get as far. The battery was a little bit lower before we started. So with initial observations, I would say they're both actually pretty good. I don't see a real clear-cut winner at this point. We'll go ahead and continue along a little bit. Rayovac's claim is 1.5 times faster. It's really not coming to bear from what I can see because it'd already be up and over the 6 volt mark. But I still think they're both pretty good units, both really about the same feature. I would think if you got either one, you're going to be set. Again, I like the Rayovac just because it's a little bit bigger surface area, but I'm not sure if that's going to make that much of a difference. One thing I'm not going to be able to test with this, this is a mold chaser, one of those solar ones you put out in the backyard. You just heard it go off to chase the moles away. Have them bad really just because of feeding the birds out here and feeding the deer. They came in and got the corn and they like to go for the bird seed. So I had to put these up. One thing you can see on this, compared, they started out the same color, that same clear plastic. And as you can see, this has been out since about last summer and it's faded. That's one thing I'm not going to be able to test, which one is actually, if either one of them doesn't fade like this. And so far it doesn't seem to have made that much of a difference on the mold chaser, but that's one thing to keep in mind. Kind of like your headlights get on the car after a while, or you've seen them on the cars, how they get this yellowy tint on them, and that actually kind of blocks the sun from going through. So that's one thing I can't test, but something I'm certainly going to continue to monitor over the time period. Here's our spinner box with the motor and of course the plate that spins. This hole that we see in the back right here, it's pre-drilled already in the Wildgame spinner boxes, but this is where you would feed this through. We have these, one would go on one side of the box, the other go on the other side of the box, and right through here is actually where it would be. Hold this in place, and of course these just feed through. Would attach to our battery inside, and very easy to set. Again, I'd have one of these on the inside, one on the outside, a little bit of sealer in between. We're back out here about 2 o'clock. I just did some tests. Both of the volts read about 6, and the amps were very close, within a couple milliamps of each other, about 40. Both of them seem to have charged up in this short amount of time. Both have done equally as well. So the claim as far as the Rayovac supposed to being faster, it possibly may be a teeny bit, but I'm really not showing it at this point. And it could be if it was a cloudy day, maybe it would do a little bit better. But with this, right at this point, not a cloud in the sky, both have done equally as well. So I think if you're going to go out there and you see one over the other, basically pick the one that you think you like. I think they're both price point. They're both equally at the same about $25 or so. Both good, and they've done a good job. And the one thing, I've actually done this test twice. This is the second time I've had these things out here. I did these earlier last week and ran some tests on them, and they basically came out exactly the same. I took my lantern battery, I took my lantern, put the batteries in there, ran them down again, and brought them out here today just to see if there was going to be a difference. And again, no difference. Both of them work equally as well. So they're really, in this case, not a clear-cut winner. I put them back in my battery, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that or not, but this will probably go 30 hours straight if I ran this right now, because that's what it did after I did this test before. Really impressed with how both of them did, the Rayovac and the Wildgame. Again, whichever one you choose, you're not going to be sorry with. They're going to both work really well for you. And here we are with the one that was charged up with the Wildgame. Both did very well. So get the one you choose to get, and it's going to keep that deer feeder going all summer long. So this is White Rick 85 signing out off the Delmarva Peninsula today. Everybody have a good one. So if anybody's put actually 2 solar panels on one battery, let me know if you've done that before, because I was thinking if up the cabin, since it's sort of in the shade a little bit, having 2 panels up there might keep that battery charged a little bit better. So if you've done that in the past, let me know in the comment section below. Be glad to hear from you.